Maryann Roefaro here, your host, my podcast, Transitions of Hope, and following along in part with my Transition of Hope book that was recently published on Amazon, and it shall be an audiobook soon. I'm in the process of recording that, so hopefully you find these podcasts valuable, and perhaps you want to dive a little deeper into some specifics. You can find some exercises in the book where you will evaluate kind of your self-mastery journey, and also, there's a bunch of self-help stuff in there. So today I want to talk a little bit about the slope of hope and resilience. And so, resilience. There have been studies done, which this kind of also cracks me up because, they do studies and, 2 + 2 = 4. And they have found that people with resilience get through life better. I don't know how much money they had to waste on that. It's kind of like a study that came out not long ago that said if someone likes their boss and feel respected, they will work harder and do better. I mean, really, did they need to do a study about that either? Isn't that just something that we should kind of all know that's common sense? But, I am been known to call it uncommon sense. In fact, from a leadership perspective, I couldn't believe how there was such a lack of common sense sometimes that in 2012, I wrote my first book, Building the Team from the Inside Out. Because as we have talked before, everything is from the inside out. So resilience. So we have talked many times about how every relationship we have begins with the relationship we have with ourselves. So resilience and hope are very much intertwined, but that's also very much related to the relationship we have with ourselves because everything really depends on that. How we look at life. Are you a victim? Are things happening to you or are they just happening? So I have said before that I believe there's a reason for everything, and we've talked about the co-created plan, and we've talked about things that are of a divine nature that we don't have the answers to, but somehow if we have faith, then we will know that truly there is a reason, and it will help us get the strength to be able to handle the cards we are dealt with grace. I read something many, many years ago about people who are unhappy and who win the lottery, and then they get really happy for a while, and then after a short time, they go back to being about the same level they used to be of happy. Now, I have a lab background, and a titer is something that we measure antibodies and things like that, and I always have said that people have a baseline titer of happiness. And this baseline titer of happiness flows up and down depending on what's happening. But people with a high baseline titer of happiness, struggles happen, tragedy happens, sad things happen, people get sick, people lose people, and it does make that level of happiness decline. But if we have a strong baseline, then we come back to it and we find a way to rise, to pick up ourselves and to be back where we were to that level of happiness, because truly that's where our hearts are comfortable. So the reason why I wanted to talk about that is because how do you raise your baseline titer of happiness? How do you become more resilient? How do you find that strength when you don't have it? So a lot of it is just how you decide to think and the kind of exercises that you do to believe in yourself. I mean, did you ever think about really how proud of yourself that you should be? And do you remember when you had to learn to tie your shoes? Remember how complicated that was? Remember how hard it was to learn how to tell time? Remember how difficult it was to learn the alphabet and to read? And then there was addition and subtraction and multiplication and division, and you made it through all of that. And then you made it through all sorts of tests in life, right? Thousands and thousands of years ago, they used to have these initiations for people who were striving to be at a higher level of consciousness and enlightenment. There were things where they would put people in confined spaces where they had to really face their fears. There were things that I'm told that happened in the Great Pyramids to help initiates rise to a higher level. And this is going back thousands of years. So we really don't have mystery schools to go to these days or to have all these initiations. So what do our initiations come from? They come from all of the situations in life that have been difficult for us. Times when we've had to pick ourselves up and somehow find the reason, find the strength within ourselves. You know, it's wintertime here when I'm recording, and people and little kids are going to be sledding. And it's really so much fun when you're sliding down and you're going fast and, your hair's blowing and, you're laughing and it's so much fun. But then you look up the big hill and you think, I got to carry this all the way up there. And then step by step, you trudge through the snow and your legs start hurting. And the older you are, maybe you even have to get a little winded. However, when you get to the top, you made it. So there's something to be proud of. It's really important to look at your life and think of the things to be proud of. Sometimes for some people who are hurting, chronic pain, whatever it is that's bothering them, getting out of bed is a huge accomplishment. So there have to be blessings that you can count, starting each day off with counting your blessings and being grateful. Gratitude is an incredible vibration that's very high, just like love. Love and gratitude are very much related. In fact, there's a book by Masaru Emoto. It's called Water Crystals, and you could look at water crystals that have been bombarded with like positive things and negative things. And he does show you a picture of love and gratitude crystals. They water that has been exposed, a glass with love and then a glass with gratitude for like an hour or so. You can see that the crystalline structures that are formed are very similar. And Dr. Emoto concluded that love and gratitude are very similar in vibration. Now, it's probably no coincidence that 70% of our body is composed of water and 70% of this earth is composed of water. So water is truly a gift of life. We need water to survive, and water helps us be the energetic beings that we are. It helps to create our electromagnetic field with all the electrical systems we have in our body. So how is resilience related to all of this? It's all one package of our physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual well-being that come together that help us have the resilience. Self-discipline. It's really important to have some self-discipline, to not think that you're a victim, and to be able to overcome. And hope and resilience are very, very much related. But it's all truly related to the self-mastery journey. So we've talked a little bit about the self-mastery journey, but really what is self-mastery? Well, it's understanding who you are. It's understanding why you think the way you think. It's understanding why you make the decisions that you make, how you look at life, what are your perceptions, what are the things that bother you, what makes you angry. Really taking those elements of your life apart and trying to understand them. You want to try to eliminate all that pollutes the inside of you, and you want to clear that clutter so that you could focus on that which is great. When you say to yourself, I'm not this, I do this poorly, I do this poorly, I do this poorly, you're looking from a very glass is half empty perspective. But if you look at the glass is half full, then look at the positive things. I am a person who could love more. I am a person who tries to understand. Well, the more you nurture those things about yourself that you love, then the more you're going to become the person that you want to be. You're going to create your life to be the best version of yourself that you possibly can. So how do you become that best version? Well, you've got to at least look within to see, what it is that you want to crowd out. So if there are negative things, make the positive things grow and focus on them so much that in time they just crowd out those other things and they just go away. So in my book, I talk about the anatomy of hope and I talk about the slope of hope. And before we end this podcast, I want to take a few minutes to tell you that the foundation of hope is love. Love is pretty much the foundation of everything. And when you get to a crossroad and you don't know which way to turn, remember that you are love and that love is an act of being, not an act of doing. So what would love do? Would love get angry? Would love be angry at yourself? Or would love give you a break? I mean, this world is not an easy place. And to traverse it, we have to have love and patience for ourselves. Otherwise, we're never going to have it for anybody else. I when I was a little girl, I loved Pollyanna movies because Pollyanna always saw the good in people. And hopefully there's young people out there and you don't even know who the heck Pollyanna is. Look her up. But anyways, so Pollyanna, it was so nice when I was young because I thought, yeah, I want to see the good in everyone. But to see the good in everyone, you got to see the good in yourself because people are mirrors, are a reflection to you. And everybody's a reflection of what's going on the inside, which is why you can't take anything personally. So you can become much more resilient in life when you understand that take nothing personally. Everything anybody says or does is a reflection from the inside out. And sometimes the people who hurt you, you have the choice to eliminate them from your life, or you can minimize your exposure to them. And sometimes there are people you really love, and maybe you even live with them. And so then your only hope is to become impervious. And how do you become impervious? You become impervious because you understand at the depths of your being that everything that someone says and does is a reflection from the inside out. Because, go back to every relationship we have depends on the relationship we have with ourselves. So you can't change that in someone. You can't make an unhappy person happy. You can't make someone who has no pride in themselves proud. You can love and support them. You can provide the most positive environment that you can, but you can't take the crap on, and you must become impervious to that. So sometimes, we have friends or family members who live on that roller coaster, up and down, up and down. And the best thing you can do is just step off. Step off of the roller coaster, don't engage, and just love and support. Or say nothing, but take care of yourself. Because when the well is empty, there is no water for anyone to drink. I can remember the first time I was on an airplane. I was 20 years old. I gave myself a graduation gift with two of my friends. And while we were on the plane, it was the first time I ever heard someone say, if you're traveling with small children, first put the mask on yourself and then the small children. And I remember thinking, oh yeah, like I would ever do that. Like I would ever not take care of a little kid and I would care about myself first. Well, I don't even want to tell you how many years it took me to truly understand that that's the right thing to do. Because if we don't take care of ourselves, then we really can't do anything for anybody else. If we don't love ourselves, we can't possibly love another person. If we don't see the good within ourselves, we'll never see the good in other people. If we nitpick ourselves to death and we are in constant self-talk about what's wrong with us, then we'll do that to other people. And the way we judge ourselves will judge other people. And let me tell you, part of that co-created plan when we leave this earth and we die and we go to the other side and we see everything, there is no judgment by anyone or anything or any divine being other than ourselves. See, we look at our lives and we know where we fell short. We know where we did well. We get shown our life. And so we make decisions of what we need to heal, what we did well. So wouldn't it be nice if we just thought about those things before we die? Because we die as we live as we die. It's all interconnected. Physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual well-being are completely, indelibly intertwined, never to be separated, until our soul releases from the physical body, and that's the only element that's gone. We maintain our mental, emotional, and spiritual self. Our soul is that part of us that has the personality traits that continues. When the soul exits the body and that cord is cut, it reunites with that higher self, with that spirit part of yourself that then knows it all. So wouldn't it be beautiful for us to be able to figure all of that out while we're here? See, the more you can understand that, the more resilient you will become, the more impervious that you will become. So the slope of hope is really, a journey of love. And you could have an elevation of hope that is extremely high many times in your life, but the goal is completely different. I give an example in this book how my former husband, the father of my children, was diagnosed with a cancer diagnosis for the second time in his life, metastatic pancreatic cancer. And in the beginning, our slope of hope was so high that he would have resolution, that he would beat it, or that he would have a really good quality of life. And at the end, 8 months later, our slope of hope was equally as high, but the goal had nothing to do with survival. It had everything to do with a loving and peaceful transition to the other side. So our slope of hope is a moving target, goes in and out, up and down all day long. But you decide what's moving that target. Is it going to be love or is it going to be fear? Remember, those two bifurcated roots of thought dictate everything. So choose love. Be love. Remember that you are love. Allow every cell in your body to vibrate with love. Take a moment. Take a moment to be quiet. Take a moment to just be with yourself. Simplify. Count your blessings. Be strong. Have self-discipline. You've got all the tools you need. So, I want to thank you for being with me. If you have any questions or concerns, it's the old-fashioned way. Drop me a note to Maryann, P.O. Box 2, Camillus, New York, 13031. Maryann, P.O. Box 2, Camillus, Camillus, New York, 13031. Okay, thanks a lot for being with me. May your life be filled with love, and may all of the divine illuminate every step you take. I appreciate you. I appreciate you being with me. And I just want to say, please help me make the world a better place, one person at a time, from the inside out. Love and hugs, my friends. Take good care. Na 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 na.